some restorative movements that you can do for yourself are mobilizers. And here I'm going to show you 4 simple mobilizers that you can do standing that'll help loosen up and free your hips. So we got the anterior of the hips, lateral, posterior, and also the inner. So we're going to start with the anterior hips to the front. Essentially, you're going to stand nice and tall, tuck the pelvis. You're going to give your pelvis a little bit of a posterior tuck. So the bottom part's coming forward, top part's coming back. So you just give it a little bit of a tuck, tail tuck underneath. It's not drastic. You're just doing a little notch. So here I'm loose, and here I've got the tail tuck. So it's a very subtle thing. Basically, you're going to feel a little bit of lengthening coming through the front of the hip. You want this back leg straight, and this front knee is going to be bent as you shift forward in your weight. You're getting long through this back leg and come back. So this is just a repetitive movement, nice and rhythmical. You're going to hold the end of your elastic for about 4 seconds, and then release. So with that pelvic tuck, you're getting into the fascia through the front of the hip and giving that a little bit more mobilization than you would if you hadn't tucked your hip. So for instance, I've let go of my hip, and now I can go a lot farther, but I'm not really getting the stretch in here that I need. I'm getting more of a lumbar curve than anything. So I'm going to tuck that hip, and then I'm going to come back and get that stretch. And you can add to this by raising your arms as you press forward and releasing. Raise your arms and release. So as I raise my arms, I can feel more of a pull coming up through my abdomen and through my deep core line. Good. So you would do that, say, 10 to 15 times, and then change legs. And as you do this, you might notice that one side is tighter than the other, more restricted than the other. Typically for me, that's my left side in the front that's more restricted. And in that case, I would want to do more mobilizing repetitions on my left than my right, just to kind of help bring balanced movement through both sides of my hip. So from here, it looks like this. Press and come back. Good. Now, for a couple of those, you want to add a little bit of a hip shift. So as you press forward into that hip and you're up, then you're going to go a little bit multidimensional by shifting your hips left and right. And you can feel how the stretch changes through the front of that hip. So you're going to press forward first, and then left and right, and back. Press forward, left and right, and come back. So from this angle, it would look like this. Press forward, left and right, and turn. Good. All right, those are just 2 simple ones for the front of the hip. Now let's go to the lateral side of the hip. Stand with your feet about hip width apart, and then you're just going to drive the hip to the side, and then drive to the side. So this works if you go left and right. And I call this the toaster stretch. So as you're in the toaster, imagine your piece of toast in the toaster, and you got those sides in the front of you and behind you, that if you lean forward or back, you're going to get a little burned. So for instance, you want to stay nice and tall through the torso and not dip forward. So if you do this, you're going to get burned. But in the front, stand up tall, just drive that hip out. You're trying to get long through the lateral side of the body and come back. And you can add to this stretch by reaching away from your hip drive. So my right hip goes out, my left arm goes out. Okay. And feel how it feels, keeping those legs straight. You may bend the opposite leg, just as long as you're feeling that you're getting long through the side here. Whew, excellent. And then we've got a mobilizer for the posterior side of the body. This one you can pigeon toe. Actually, I don't want to do that one. Nah. Yeah, this one you can pigeon toe. So you're going to stand with your toes turned in, and then drive your hips back, reach forward, come back up. So you're keeping those legs straight, and then you're standing up, driving those hips back. One more this angle. And then you can turn. So this is what you look like from the side. Come back up. My legs are staying pretty much straight, not bending, keeping the legs straight. getting long through the tailbone, and then reaching. And again, here we're going to get a little multi-dimensional. At the length of our stretch, we're going to do a little sway left and right. Back. Sway left and right. Back. From this direction, it's here. Left and right. Ta-da. Awesome. Now, for the inner thigh, you're going to get long in your stance, bending one leg while you keep the other leg straight. As you bend this leg, your right leg, your left leg is going to get long through the inner thigh. And then you're going to bend the other leg. So one more stretch for the inner thigh is you're going to come wide in your stance. And I just want you to drop into the hip a little bit, do a little seesaw action through the hip, just getting long, alternately getting long through the inner thigh, one leg and the other, left and right. And then we're going to go a little bit further into that by bending the right knee and then getting long through that left leg. Reach forward as you drive the hips back, come back up, change the knee, bend the left knee, get long through the right leg, and then come back up. So you can alternate or you can stick with one side. So I'm having a little bit of issue with my left leg, so I'm going to stick with my left leg long for now. Come back and reach. So this is what it looks like from the front. Right. And this is what it looks like from the side. So I'm going to bend my right knee, come long in my leg, left leg, drive the hip back. Changing sides. Now you can get multi-dimensional with this one as well. When you're here at the extent of your reach, you're going to arc your arm reach towards the foot of the long leg. And come back. Do that again. Change sides. One more. Alright, then you're going to do just a little bit of walking around and reset those hips and explore how much looser you feel. Maybe you've got a change in some aches and pains, maybe they've gone away. And just know how your body feels before you've done the movements, and then again after you've done the movements. And if it feels good, keep doing it. And there we go. Enjoy that.